Pakalu Papita, what's poppin'? The 49ers have had a bad season, but it could be that last season was just a fluke and they were a mediocre team with a good coach and team spirit, or they're truly good but their roster has been destroyed by injury, or the players could just be having an off year. In 2017, John Lynch was appointed GM of the 49ers, which got his daughter crying because they were a terrible team at the time. He hired Kyle Shanahan to be the head coach of the 49ers. They signed Kyle Juszczyk, Marquise Goodwin, Quan Williams, and Robbie Cole to start off this rebuild, the operation. Their draft was a success when they fleeced the Bears with a second-round pick and got Solomon Thomas. In that draft, they drafted George Kittle in the 5th round of that draft. In 2018, it got even better when they signed Richard Sherman and Jerick McKinnon. The Jerick McKinnon signing might have not worked out right now, but it was showing a sign of intent. They drafted Mike McGlinchey and Fred Warner, which are still with them, and Fred Warner's proven to be one of the best linebackers in the league. In 2019, they drafted Nick Bosa, Deebo Samuel, and Dre Greenlaw, which helped them click, and they signed Tevin Coleman and Raheem Mostert, so they can easily do a good run game, which got them to the top. The defense had Richard Sherman, Eric Armstead, DeForest Buckner, and Ahkello Witherspoon. Robert Saleh turned them into one of the top-rated defenses in the league. The 49ers were one quarter away from winning the Super Bowl, but they faltered to the Chiefs, which probably hurt the players' mindset. It hurt when Seattle lost the Super Bowl and players started wanting to leave. So maybe something like this happened. This year, they drafted Javon Kinlaw with a 13th pick, and they drafted Brandon Ayuk. The problem is they were hit by so many injuries and COVID-19 that it's hard to get a good record like that. I wish the Niners were not that injury prone because that's just bad luck for them. Jimmy G came back and played terrible because he was still bothered by that injury, and now he's going back to the injured list, and Nick Mullins is now their starter quarterback. And the defense doesn't look the same with Richard Sherman out. I know that Witherspoon and Jason Verrett's been fine, but Richard Sherman is still a top cornerback in the league. All in all, this season can be explained by one thing, and that is coronavirus. I think the coronavirus made sure that there was no preseason, and it was very hard to get conditioned during this time, and I hope that it goes alright, so then not many teams have to really deal with injury problems unless the players they get are very, very injury prone, and I will not blame anyone for it. So it's okay, the 49ers, we get it. You got 27 players on the injured list, but it's all part of the sport. Seattle is dealing with a lot of injuries too. And hopefully the 49ers learn how to bounce back from it. They've got a great GM in John Lynch. They've got Kyle Shanahan, one of the best coaches. I mean, he can't win a Super Bowl to save his life, but he's very good still. They've got a good core of players. I think if they want to finish the rebuild and get to the Super Bowl, they need to get Jimmy G off that wage bill, because Jimmy G is the epitome of overspending. Sure, he might have the good looks and the good personality, but he has been so inconsistent, and it doesn't show how he's worth the contract. He might have thrown 27 touchdowns, but again, he barely even passed the ball because they had such a potent rush attack that his job was done. So, and they also need a goddamn receiver. Brandon Ayuk is not enough. I think Brandon Ayuk has the potential to be a number 1 receiver, but I do think that they need more than him. Dante Pettis failed, and Kendrick Bourne's good, but he's not a number 1 receiver. He'll be a very, very solid number 3 option on most teams, but he's a starter because of how scarce that position is. So if they can improve on that and somehow find a way to fully replace DeForest Buckner, hopefully Javon Kinlaw turns good, then I think they'll be good overall. I mean, I don't really like the 49ers, but I can't help but feel bad for the situation Kyle Shanahan is. And if he loses his job, it's not going to be his fault. I truly understand.